Baik, perkenalkan nama saya Sarlyn, mahasiswa tingkat 1 reguler B. Di sini saya akan presentasikan hasil pekerjaan ini. Baik, dari link yang pertama. Hi friends, today in this lecture we are going to review the sexual disorders, and when we look the sexual disorders, the disorders are going to be based and the different parts of your sexual scale. Software part of sexual scale is desired. What does desire mean? It means you have fantasies about sex and you want to have sex. This is called the male hepatitis sexual. Means this is second part of the sexual calendron is the preclusive response, the sexual excitation for families, its lubrication, and for males, its erections. Women can have what's called the sexual interarousal disorders. These are women. Biological sex exists on a spectrum. The bottom line is style. Biology is messy, and like most things, biological sex exists on a spectrum. Spread from the biological construct, sex is gender identity and gender expression. Gender identity, a person's own sense of their gender, and gender expression is how parents. Many people identify as either men or women, but there are also various types of non-binary gender identity that lie outside of the man-woman dichotomy. For example, someone called identify as multiple gender, as natives or indigenous as the spirit too. Pronouns now. Depending on their gender identity, any person can choose the pronouns that suit them the best. Commonly used pronouns include he, him, is, or she, he, her. Often a person can cause the pronouns they, them. Theirs we are more gender neutral, and you can ask the pronouns when talking about someone whose gender you don't know. For instance, you may say, this patient name is Sam, they have diabetes, and they're here for a follow-up on their name medicine. Sexuality is the capacity of humans to erotic expression and response. A person's sexual orientation can influence their sexual interest and interaction for another person. Sexuality may be experienced and expressed in a variety of ways. Evolutionary perspective on human coupling, reproduction, strategies, and social learning. Their provide further view of sexuality. Social cultural aspects of sexuality include historical development and religious beliefs. Explain inclined with sexual pleasure. Some cultures have been described as sexuality repressive is the total of our physical, emotion, and spiritual response, thoughts, and feelings. Sexuality is more about how we are than about what we do. Dimensions of human sexuality and our biologic, social, cultural factor. Biologic dimension or gender, genetic, reproduction, fertility, control, sexual arousal and response, and also psychological calculus, and chance. In recent years, healthcare councils have started understanding the importance of incorporating sexual orientation and gender identity or SOGI in their medical record. Traditionally, one's assigned sex at birth is biological sex which depend on their sex chromosomes. If they have a Y chromosome, their biological sex is male. If they have two X chromosomes, their biological is female. However, things aren't that simple. So you think biological sex can be likened more complicated than that. Some genes get expressed at high levels and other at low level. So a person may have genes that express a high level of testosterone 1 and little or estrogen or progesterone 1 or vice versa. Sexual orientation and gender identity. Healthy care system collect and report sexual orientation and gender identity data or SOGI data from their patient. Sexual orientation refers to how you self and sex is about biology. Sexual disorders can be classification, gender identity disorders, psychological and behavioral disorder associated with sexual development and maturation, disorder of sexual preference. Sexual defection lists these disorders in detail. There is a gender identity disorder. Here the main gender identity disorders are mean he would like to become a transgender, which means here the person with to hear the college of the opposite sex and to enjoy the temporary membership of the opposite sex group, but do not want a permitted sex change. Homosexuality means here the person with pro-sex with the same sex, like a family wall. They like sex with femme, while they pro-see sex with a male. It is important to understand the meaning of these terms of the concept of the term sexual presence of people. His means they would like pro-sex with this. Thank you. Inilah hasil presentasi yang saya berikan. Semoga bermanfaat. Terima kasih.